This is London Greek Radio.
Εσύ έχεις κατεβάσει στο smartphone ή tablet σου την εφαρμογή του LGR. London Greek Radio 103,3. Μας φέρνει πιο κοντά.
Ο αγαπημένος σου ελληνικός σταθμός στα social media. Ακολούθησέ μας στο Instagram και στο TikTok, βρες μας στο Twitter και κάνε like στη σελίδα μας στο Facebook. London Greek Radio.
LGR 103,3 FM, ελληνικό ραδιόφωνο Λονδίνο. Είμαι η Βασούλα Χριστοδούλου και έχουμε στη γραμμή τον Enver Gursev. Είναι καλλιτέχνης, ζωγράφος και γλύπτης και θα μάθουμε περισσότερα από τον ίδιο. Good morning, Enver. How are you today?
Good morning, Vasoula. I'm very well, thank you. Very good.
Well, it's nice to have you today with us. Enver, can you start by telling us about your early artistic influences and how you first became interested in painting and in sculpture?
Sure. I started off very young as a painter and always had an interest with the fine arts. My father's family has got quite a few artists, musicians, poets hanging around, so I've always had influence by them. I studied art very young at school, then I left school because I discovered other things, and then I got into, I never left the art world, it's just that I didn't go to study. Then I started working with a sign writing company in London. I was very young, for a very short time, but I did quite a lot of work with them, and then started to get quite a few commissions for working with bands, making posters and covers, album covers and things like this. Then somewhere along the line I was introduced, very fortunately, to Sir Eduardo Paolozzi, a quite famous sculptor. Unfortunately passed away now, but he mentored me for quite a few years, and he encouraged me to go back to art school. So I went back to art school. I went to Camberwell College of Art, did sculpture there as well, and then from there it just took off. I got my own studio.
What was the most valuable lesson you learned from Eduardo Paolozzi?
One of the biggest things, a couple of things he always told me and chatted to me about was just always, you have to always create what you feel. There are moments that you might be blank, you might feel, well, this isn't like in vogue at the moment, or it's not, maybe it's, not matching the rest of my work. But he always used to say, you just have to make the work. Just make the work. The second thing, the big thing that sticks to my mind is, he said, if you're ever selling your work, never undersell. Never undersell your work, because you spent a lot of time making it. So you have to always make sure you get the sales price that you wanted for it, to make it reflect on the time you spent. So these are the two things that stick to my mind.
That's a good advice, Now, your interest in painting traditional pub signs. Why? Did you particularly like the pubs, or why you like... Are you a pub person?
This started off as in schools they used to do work experience. And this is very, very good question, actually, Vasoula. In schools they used to do work placements for children, in their teens, and they placed me. I gave them my interest, and I think the only thing they found for me were, as a sign writer for pub signs, this company, which was in South London. And the thing is, it's not just because I enjoyed painting the pub signs, but they actually taught me how to paint these guys.
Wow.
They traditionally, with oil paint and things, they were like, rough old boys, and they were just saying, you don't want to do it like this. You want to do it like this. So they actually taught me quite a lot of things, like practical, technical skills of painting. So I'm quite grateful to them for that. But I still see some of my signs around London, so I'm still quite proud.
I can imagine, yes. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, you play with perception in your art. Things are not always what they seem at first glance. What do you actually mean? Can you give us an example from your work where this is particularly evident?
Yeah, I think the best examples, recent examples I can give you are the works that I'm showing at the moment at the Cyprus High Commission residence. I have these whitewashed paintings that from far away they might just look very plain abstract paintings, but as you get closer to them you start to see that underneath the layers there are actually pictures. If you look a bit closer, underneath the pictures there's actually writing. Underneath the writing, on another layer, there might be other shapes, forms, patterns. For example, backgammon. The backgammon board is quite prominent in my work. I use that quite often because for me it is the epitome of Cyprus. It's the whole point of everyone playing on either side of the board, but it's only one board and it's the same patterns and it's the same game, but it's just one board, So if you look very closely at my work, there's always something else underneath it. I work in layers with my paintings, so
yes.
That's what I mean. It's
okay. It sounds very interesting, And I can see here that you have also were awarded the Centenary Collection and Project Delphi, commissions by BP Shipping. Can you tell us about these projects and what they meant for you as an artist?
That was as an artist, as a young artist, I was quite struck by the lack of help from the existing sort of art community. When I was younger, it was quite difficult to get help. So I did vow from a very young age that I would assist upcoming artists as much as I can. And then I'm an associate lecturer with UAL. I've been at University Arts London. So I've been tutoring and mentoring since 2006 at Chelsea, St Martin's, Camberwell, and these are the colleges, the university, art school. And then this project came along. They found me randomly. This is BP Shipping contacted me, the shipping wing of BP. And they were commissioning 36 brand new ships, liquid natural gas ships. And they wanted 36 brand new original paintings for their vessels for the captain's mess. So I couldn't do 36 paintings all by myself in 1 year, because these are oil paintings.
Yes.
So I commissioned my ex-students who were just launching their careers. So I involved 13 students of mine to assist me in the project. It kind of, most of them were just like fledgling artists, so it launched their careers. But then from there we got another, that was a 2-year project. And then I think they liked our work so much, they commissioned us for another 2 years for a few hundred paintings and prints. So I involved a lot of people in that work. That's what was so fantastic for me. I mean, it was a very prestigious award,
yes.
100 years of BP, but also I was able to involve approximately 30, maybe more artists in the project. Yeah, so
that's quite a big achievement, I must say. But you are also a musician?
Yes.
Yes, I discovered that as well.
Yes.
So, do you play instruments? Do you sing?
I definitely don't sing, but I am a drummer, and I've played in a couple of bands, a couple of metal and punk bands, so maybe it's not.
So do you still play music? I mean, and how do these different creative roles influence each other in your work?
They do influence, because whenever I'm, I'm the kind of person, I make sculpture, I make 3D work, I make painting, but I do get bored after a while. I get not bored from the actual making. It's just subject-wise. If I'm making these really intricate landscapes and urban paintings, they take a lot of time. So when I need a break from that, I take up music again. I don't do it professionally anymore, but I still play very often. I still jam a lot. Sometimes I gig with people once in a while. But yeah, I be quite a prolific drummer and percussionist.
Excellent.
Less so since I had my son. But yeah, still playing.
Excellent, well done. And you've exhibited both in UK and internationally. Is there a particular exhibition or collaboration, apart from what you mentioned, which, they were amazing, that really stands out for you, especially meaningful to you?
Yeah, so the one that really stands out to me the most was not exactly my own exhibition. I have exhibited many times in quite a few places, but the one that stands out for me the most was a project that we did to help children in Cyprus to exhibit their work. Now these are children these were the children that are sort of, if you like, forgotten about on both sides of the divide on the island. So in Limassol, we were working with children from Roma heritage or the Turkish Cypriot heritage that maybe they were a little bit more poorer backgrounds. And in the on the other side of Cyprus, in Carpathia, we were working with the Greek Cypriot children there that were, also kind of not very represented, almost forgotten about. That they were so happy that we went there as a group. There was a group of us that went there from London, an international group of artists actually, that we went there and did work with them. This was in 2004. This was massively emotional and very beautiful to see these children actually, for once, have access to materials, to the art world, and then to have an exhibition. They both counts. They had exhibitions that we organised for them in art centres, that was, I think, bigger than my own. Bigger than my own exhibitions. I think.
That's nice, and thank you for sharing this with us. Now, Copper Washed in White, your recent exhibition in a private location, and it was very interesting to hear about your vision that you had, that one day you are going to have an exhibition in one of those houses, That was so interesting to hear. Now, tell us about the title, Copper Washed in White.
So, Copper Washed in White, it's a play on words. Copper being Kypros, being copper, being, and my experience of Cyprus as a child, just after the conflict in the 70s, where everyone was trying to get rid of everyone else's traces. They were washing over, with painting over certain shutters and houses and graffiti. They were trying to cover the past. They were trying to, this goes on, on all of the islands that I was seeing, and changing names of villages and places, whitewashing. Just getting rid of.
Okay, that's interesting.
So this, trying to sort of forget that there were other people in existence or other places that were inhabited, and trying to just erase the past, if you like. And that was the title. That's the title of my work, because that's my work that I explained to you a few minutes ago about the work that's washed in white. But when you look underneath carefully, you'll see the different layers that still exist. So you cannot get rid of them. You cannot get rid of those layers. You can't get rid of the history, and you can't get rid of the people or the past. So
That's true. Now, what's next for you? Are there any upcoming projects or ideas you are excited to explore?
At the moment, I am really sitting back. I've got some plans coming up. I'm going to Cyprus soon anyway, myself. I have a meeting with a couple of artists over there. One in Limassol, one in Famagusta.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope to be doing something there, maybe moving my work over there to show in collaboration with other artists. It's still a discussion. I don't want to kind of divulge too much because it might not happen.
Exactly.
But I'm so pleased and so proud of what we did in the Cultural High Commission, with the help of everyone from the Cultural High Commission, the Culture Section, and of course His Excellency and Mrs. Vasoula. Fantastic help to show the work and make it come out in itself, to show where it really belongs. I think next step I'll do the same thing in Cyprus if possible.
Well, wishing you all the best, Enver, and keep going, and we might see another of your exhibitions in London sometimes. Thank you, Enver. Have a lovely day. You're most welcome.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Enver. Bye-bye now.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
London Greek Radio, το επίσημο ελληνικό ραδιόφωνο του Λονδίνου, στους 103,3 FM. Εσύ έχεις κατεβάσει στο smartphone ή tablet σου την εφαρμογή του LGR. London Greek Radio 103,3. Μας φέρνει πιο κοντά.